Now, I started this project maybe 5 years ago. I produced one chapter. And actually, I hope you enjoy reading it. If you do read it, and if you do take it, you don't have to take it, right? But it speaks to the issue of your Montessori education. You might find insight or two about Montessori that you didn't know, right? I want to make a statement about Montessori. And for the sake of argument, we won't debate this. All right? This is sort of like a philosophical question that we ask in philosophy. Right? Now, this is my opinion that Montessori is one of the greatest educators of all time. Right? One of. And in regard to early childhood education, from 3 to 6, probably. Now, I didn't say probably, the greatest. In the education of little children, the greatest. And after only 100 years of Montessori, it seems clear to me that she's the educator of the future. All right? Now, this is what I predict, is that in less than 50 years, Montessori as an educational system will be more complete than it is now. There'll be better, in-depth education training of elementary Montessori teachers, and there will be adolescent training, so that in the future, Montessori elementary schools will be significantly deeper and richer, and that Montessori adolescent programs will be deeper and richer in their understanding of the adolescent, and there will be Montessori high schools throughout this country. Instead of the maybe 10 that exist today, there will be maybe 500 Montessori high schools that people will create, because it will be clear that they're the best high schools, right? All right, that's just a point of argument. Right? You don't have to agree with me, but I'm right. Right? Now I'll tell you one little anecdote, because I was one of the people instrumental in creating the Montessori High School in St. Paul, Great River School, that Marty is at. The school, this is the 4th year of the school, and it's just beginning its career as a Montessori high school. Now, I visited maybe 5 years ago Montessori high schools in the Netherlands, right? The oldest of the high schools in the Netherlands was the oldest Montessori high school that exists in the world. It was created in 1929, even before Montessori wrote her famous essay on the Erdkinder, right? This high school, and there's 1,000 students in this high school. I visited one of the nicest designed Montessori high schools. It was called Montessori Lyceum East in Amsterdam, and I visited another one in the southern part of the Netherlands. Beautiful school with rather striking students, okay? This is a 5 years ago? 5 years ago. All right, now, in 1990, or just before 1990, there was in all of the Netherlands 9 Montessori high schools. They were from 700 to 1,000 students. At the time, the Dutch government created a group to study the best workers in the Dutch workforce. Where did they come from? What schools did they graduate from? And what were the characteristics of the best best workers in the Dutch system. This is the conclusion. They came to one of the conclusions, was that the best workers in all of Holland were graduates of Montessori schools. Why? Number one, they were the most productive. They lost less time on the job. They were more committed to their job, and they approached it with greater enthusiasm. Thirdly, they were the most creative workers in the Dutch system. As a result of this report, they have opened over the last 15 years a dozen more Montessori high schools. So there are 21 Montessori high schools and probably others opening, which represents maybe 20% of those in the Dutch workforce. 20% are graduates of Montessori school. That's rather amazing kind of thing. And they traditionally are the best prepared and the best workers in the Dutch system. Just tell you one little anecdote. About 3 years ago, official delegation from China went to Sydney, Australia, where there was this international Montessori Congress. Official delegation, right from the government, must have been 30 Chinese, and this is what they asked. The international Montessori community was to train for China 10,000 Montessori teachers, because they wanted to alter the educational structure of China and make it more deeply Montessori. And I'll tell you something, that of course the international community could not train 10,000 teachers or 1,000 Montessori trainers. But if China was to alter their system, because they wanted to have 10 million children or 20 million children in Montessori schools, that would be so frightening for our country that the Chinese would zoom ahead of us. All right, think about that for a moment, all right? I hope you enjoy reading this little thing that I wrote. Now, in another 5 years, I'll produce chapter 2. Thanks.